Hey book besties! Actually come to my attention that I am 5 books behind my reading goal for this year. And while I do recommend not taking your reading goal that serious, as I don't want anyone to spoil their joy for reading, I'm very competitive with myself. I thought, what better way to catch up on reading than a 24 to 48-ish hour readathon? My first one ever. I am more of a night owl than a day human, so I think I should do pretty okay until probably the 5 a.m. mark. That's usually where I tend to, you know. I am gonna stop the timer for every time that I am not reading because I do have some dogs I have to take care of. I do have to eat, and maybe I'll take some cat naps because sleep is important. And also I have to wash my face sometimes because oily skin is so much fun. Also have some energy drinks on standby because I'm a caffeine addict. Now to choose the books. Earlier this year, I think around June, I made a vampire TBR with like 15 books on it, if not more. And I did get through, I think, about 5 of them. I am gonna pull from that stack because I do want to get through that, especially for spooky season. I definitely have 2 from there I want to read tonight. And then I'm also gonna pick some other ones just so I have like a range of genres so I don't get so burnt out on them. Picked out a couple of books, and this is the stack that I will most likely be reading from. To start out with, we're going to read Carmilla, which is basically what Dracula was based off of. It is a sapphic book. It's about 123 pages, I believe. That should be pretty fast to get through. After that, I have My Roommate is a Vampire, which is another shorter book, like 330 so pages. This is about our FMC Cassie. She's an artist. She's on the verge of being evicted. She is trying to find a new roommate, and it turns out that her new roommate is a vampire, obviously. I'm hoping there's a little bit of romance in that just to get through things. Next one is Fahreinheit 451. I know I haven't read this one yet. I'm sorry, but I did recently read The Books That Wouldn't Burn, and I loved that book. I explained the whole premise to my friend, and she was like, oh, so basically this book, and I was like, I don't know, I haven't read it. So here I am. I will finally be reading this, and this is another short one. Maybe I'm cheating with the short books, but you know, gotta get through it somehow. Swift and Saddled, a little cowboy romance. I did read Done and Dusted. Loved it, very cute. Hopefully this is another one. I read that one in one sitting. Believe I can do that. Next up, we have The Locked Door by McFadden. I haven't read Housemaid yet, but I have read other books by her. They're pretty fast to get through. So far, The Inmate is my favorite. I'm gonna see where this stacks up with the books by her that I've read. After that is Home is Where the Bodies Are. I bought this because this is so cute, okay? Like old VHS. I am kind of old. This is basically about 3 siblings that get together after their mother passes away, and they have to like divvy up her estate. They find some videos with some very interesting circumstances on them. I've watched a movie with a similar premise to this, so I think I should really like this. Also, some friends recommended that. Then we have Trust of the Emerald Sea, which I've been wanting to get into Brandon Sanderson's work so much. There's a lot, and they're super long, but I heard this is kind of like a nice point to dip your toes into. It's not really like his other writing, but I think this is so cute that he wrote this for his wife, because if he wanted to, he would. Other honorable mentions that I can pull from are going to be this stack right here. I don't know if I'm gonna get to any of these, but it's just so I can have some other options on standby. We have Dark Matter, Where the Dark Stands Still. I've had this, The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo Forever, and then a couple of little thrillers, and then this is an Owl Crate book that I got. The ratings on Goodreads aren't that impressive, but I honestly haven't read an Owl Crate book ever, and I think I have like 8 of them, so I need to do that. It's also vampire. Now that we've done that, I'm gonna go get my coffee and snacks and get situated, and then we'll start reading. Apparently I won't be alone for this readathon because Ronan decided to join. So let's crack open our first book and let's get going. I had to pause my timer and grab some little tabs so that I can annotate anything that I want. I don't really write in my books because I'm scared. I write in some of them. I also found it interesting that this little excerpt in here says, "It is no coincidence that Carmilla is the name of a Japanese lesbian magazine." I had no idea. It has a little like fun facts down at the bottom in this specific edition. I just got to the point where it states Carmilla's other name, and I just now realized that Malarga is Carmilla, just a few of the letters moved around, so tired, but I got 1 hour 53, and I just finished this. It definitely wasn't what I thought it was gonna be when I was told that it was a sapphic romance. I thought there would be a little bit more romance in it. It just kind of went over the life of Carmilla and the daughter of the father that took her in. It didn't really go into detail. It had very minimal dialogue in between the characters, and it's interesting that people say that Dracula was based on this because it's so short. I really wish that I got more of this. I would love to have further detail on Carmilla. I do love this cover though. It's a very good cover. It has little illustrations in here, so that's nice. In the end, it's not really my favorite vampire book I've ever read. I do appreciate that without this, Dracula might not be what it is today. I'm not sure I really recommend it as one of my favorite vampire books though. We're one book down, a little bit before 2 hours. Starting book number 2, which is My Roommate is a Vampire. I got my tabs ready to go. I'm only on page 6. It talks about how she works at a library part-time, but she works in the children's section, how she shelves warrior cats. That series is so dear to my heart. I just thought that was really cute. If you needed an apartment and somebody had this beautiful apartment with these beautiful views and they were asking for insanely low amount of rent and it was on Craigslist, would you even consider it? Well, she did. On top of that, he said there's 2 rooms that she can't go into under any circumstance. One being his bedroom, duh. The other one, he won't tell her what's in it. Would you still rent there? Because I would be terrified. Just like she asked, do you have dead bodies in there? And he took it quite literally and said no. But he has an embarrassing hobby. It's a no for me. There's text messages in between the vampire and Reginald. I'm not quite sure who Reginald is yet, and they're hilarious. It's so sarcastic. Example, later on in the conversation, Reginald says, think of it this way, if she's really that strange, you won't be tempted to either eat or F her, right? And he responds, why do I still speak to you? He says, I got you a cell phone too. He said, you owed me at least that much given the circumstances. And Reginald says, you know what? On second thought, it would probably be good for you if you did F your new roommate. God knows it's been long enough. And he says, I am blocking your number as soon as I work out how that is done. Cracking me up. Hello Cassie, this is Frederick. I have a question for you. Sure, I'm at work, but I have a minute. What's up? Do you eat sauce? I stared at my phone. Sauce? Question mark? Yes. Do you enjoy eating it? Why? I am presently at a store that sells cooking implements. An entire section of the store is dedicated to saucepans. Other customers seem quite enamored with them, but before I purchased one for the apartment, I wanted to confirm that sauce is something you eat. I love him so much. I am taking a quick break because I got a little hungry. So I'm having a little, I guess you could call, veggie charcuterie board. It's 12:13. I'm getting a little bit sleepy. I think I've earned myself an energy drink. I've been waiting to give this a try. I've never had it before, but I've been told I'm missing out. Let's see what the hype is all about. It's actually really good. I have 4 more. I'm not gonna drink them all tonight, but you guys know what you're talking about. Reginald said, listen, how long have I known you? Frederick responds, I shudder to think. I love this. I recognize each of the words you just said as belonging to the English language. He said looking dazed. When taken all together, however, none of what you just said makes any sense whatsoever. I feel that. I feel that so much. Some not great news. My power went out, so I am stuck with a tiny little ring light and power packs. We're gonna try and make it work. It says that the power isn't expected to be up until 6:04 a.m. and it is only 1:14. I hope they can last. I'm gonna try and film as much as I can. Hopefully we do okay. Power is back on. Finally, I only went without it for 30-ish minutes. My eyes are happy. It was starting to hurt a little bit. And hopefully my dogs can relax. They're a little confused on the situation. And that's my printer. I really suggest getting a boyfriend from the 1700s because they just don't make them like this anymore. This man is a 10 out of 10. Sweet, sweet baby angel. I can't get enough of this book. I think I saw somewhere that there's a second book coming out. I think it ended well that there wouldn't necessarily be a second one, but I'm pretty sure there is a second one coming out. Insanely cute. I can't believe I waited so long to read this. I had like 3 people tell me how much they love this and I was not convinced. But now I see this is definitely a slow burn. The humor is so dry, which is some of my favorite. I love sarcasm. I love dry humor. I definitely recommend this, especially if you liked Bride. Obviously there's not werewolves, but it kind of gave me the same vibes as that Bride by Ali Hazelwood. A little bit before 7 hours. It is 4:13 a.m. I finished my second book and now to pick the third book. I don't know if I want to do another romance. Right after this, I might go with Frida. Okay, I lied. I'm gonna go with Swift and Saddled. It's a couple of pages shorter than the Frida McFadden book. In this book, we're following Emmy's brother and his love interest, which is this girl here. So happy that we have an alternative girl as a love interest. I loved Emmy, but I just like, this is so cute. I love the tattoos and we love the cowboy. I have a feeling that the dad's playing matchmaker here. She's supposed to be staying at a cabin on site and all of a sudden the cabin's flooded and now she should stay in the big house. I just realized that I've been reading for 45 pages and didn't press start on my timer. So I'll probably use that towards a nap then. 4:57. I owe myself 45 minutes. I am gonna take myself up on the deal to go take a nap. I'll be back to finish this. It is now 6:05. I added the 45 minutes I was missing. We're at 7 hours and 39 minutes. I'm gonna remember to press start this time. The one thing I really like about this series is how it ties mental health into the story and the characters. The first one, Valentine, had ADHD, and this one, her brother has depression, and he goes to therapy, and we love a man that goes to therapy. That's what I meant when I said that my brain didn't feel like my own sometimes. It felt like it belonged to my mental illness instead. And that is a pretty good way to put depression because sometimes you have no idea why you're down or not in a good mood. And you could be eating right, you could be exercising, life could be going okay, and it just decides it's not happy that day. The sun is officially out. I'm probably gonna make a coffee, but I definitely need to take an antacid because acid reflux. I can totally relate to this as well. My whole life I've been described as icy, bitchy, and rude. I know I'm not super warm or overly kind, but the truth is I'm just shy. I don't think I'm a people person, certainly not in the way this entire family seems to be. I have RBF like no other. People all the time say like, oh, I thought you hated me at first, and I have to explain I'm insanely shy, which is why I read a lot of these. I promise I don't hate you. My face just, it looks like that. I think I know the couple the fourth book is going to be about. At least I know what couple I want the fourth book to be about. Something interesting just happened. I love all the brothers in this series, but the dad. I hope the dad gets his own book because he's perfect. I love when you're reading a book and something in it just speaks to you. She's explaining the situation and she's saying that we can't do that forever. And he says something will have to give eventually, but it doesn't have to give right now, so there's no need to force it to. And that is something I need to teach myself, that you can just kind of take things day by day. You don't always have to be thinking about 3-5 years from now. Book 3 down. We're at 11 hours, 10 minutes. It is about to be 10 a.m. I would say so far this is my favorite book that I've read during this marathon. I thought this was so much better than Done and Dusted. Not that Done and Dusted wasn't good. I just loved these two characters way more. I thought that Ada was very relatable. Even Wes was relatable. The baby cow. You got to see more of the family in this one. There's also like a little holiday that I really love, and I just think this family is so cute, and I really can't wait for the third book because I was hoping that this book was about that couple, but I'm still happy that we got to see this couple. I'm also still rooting for Dad to get his own book because he deserved a lady. He cooks, he raised his children well. I really like the story of why the new house was built. There's things in here that I don't want to spoil, but he's a good dad. Next up is going to be The Locked Door by Freida McFadden. I've read, I believe, 3 books by her: The Gift, The Inmate, and Never Lie. Unpopular opinion, I liked The Inmate more than Never Lie because I just found Never Lie to not be realistic. I couldn't get behind it, especially the FMC's decisions. Yeah. This one is about a surgeon whose father was killing people in their basement, and she has a patient that is killed in a similar manner that her dad had killed somebody, but he's in prison, so there's no way that he could have done it. My guess is she did it. I'm on page 4. I don't know anything, but sometimes her twist can be a little bit predictable. The reason I liked The Inmate the most is because there was parts of it that I didn't guess, and it also gave me like vibes of Scream, and that's probably my favorite horror movie. Maybe I'm a little bit biased, but oh, there's a bug, it's a hair. But I'm excited to get through this because thrillers, you just go right through them. It's 10:28 at 11:36. I'm feeling really tired. It's kind of hard to process a thriller because you have to keep track of clues, put them together at the end. I think I'm gonna go take a nap because I'm tired. Now 11:06. I'm on page 69 and I think something interesting is finally gonna happen. I will say that this book actually has some humor in it. The dialogue between the two surgeons is actually kind of funny. It's different than the other books I read by her. The bullying in this book from the kids and her dad, her mom, is making me so mad. Okay, if you don't want spoilers, skip a couple of seconds ahead. When this old lady is like, oh, I hear somebody yelling, help me upstairs, I bet you it's just from his slasher movies that he likes to watch. I don't think it's him. I had to take a break to go put a hoodie on because my boyfriend's home now and he likes to have the house at -20 degrees. Freezing my ass off. I liked this one more than the other books by her that I read. I've heard good things about Housemaid and The Teacher. Maybe I'll get to those here for spooky season. I think this one was definitely good, better than the other ones. I actually didn't really guess who it was. I narrowed it down to 3 people due to a certain evidence being found. It was nice to finally not guess correctly. So the ending, you always think like, okay, they're good, and then you find out more secrets. She writes a lot. I don't know how she comes up with all of these ideas because she has so many books out. I'm only in the introduction, which isn't even like into the book, and I'm gonna guess that this is gonna be a 5-star read. I love books like this. Why do we need the things in books? The poems, the essays, the stories. Stories are lives, after all, tales of people who never existed and the things that never actually happened to them. Why should we read them? Why should we care? The teller and the tell are very different. We must not forget that. Ideas, written ideas, are special. They are the way we transmit our stories and our thoughts from one generation to the next. If we lose them, we lose our shared history. We lose much of what makes us human, and fiction gives us empathy. It puts us inside the minds of others, gives us the gift of seeing the world through their eyes. Fiction is a lie that tells us true things over and over. I would get that tattooed. Well, not all of it, obviously, but fiction is a lie that tells us true things over and over, and 100% fact, it does teach you empathy. Taking a quick break because I got some book mail. Officially influenced by some friends. I heard this has like a masked man in it. I really love this cover and all of my friends are raving about it. I had FOMO. You weren't there, you didn't see, he said. There must be something in books, things we can't imagine, to make a woman stay in a burning house. There must be something there. You don't stay for nothing. It talks about getting rid of things that people don't like. I think there's a lesson in getting rid of things that make people uncomfortable, because eventually you're going to be left with nothing. Somebody's always going to be offended about something. If you don't want a man unhappy politically, don't give him 2 sides to a question to worry him. Give him one. Better yet, give him none. Let him forget there is such a thing as war. If the government is inefficient, top-heavy, and tax-mad, better it be all those than that people worry over it. I know why they don't want you reading this book. I just got to part 2, and I'm honestly surprised it's taken me this long to read this book. This is short, but it has a very big message, and I think a lot of people should read this book. I will definitely be recommending it for sure. I'm not even finished with it, but I already know. I'm on page 90 and I've disliked his wife even before then, but I can't stand her. In their conversations, there's no substance. I would literally just go crazy. Part 2 left off on something quite interesting. I can't wait to get to part 3. It looks like I'm about halfway done. We are at 17 hours at 8:18 p.m. I think it's so interesting. The people on the train tracks are basically like human libraries. Everyone chose a specific book to memorize and they just kind of share the information with each other, so it's like a human library. Yep. After reading this, I definitely need to read more classics. I am obsessed. Book paper combustion point was 451 degrees Fahrenheit, which seems like really high. I feel like I don't know anything about fires, so don't listen to me. Okay, I finished my 5th book, and I definitely give this book 5 stars. I recommend reading this if you haven't read this. It puts some things into perspective, and I could really see something like this happening to an extent. I'm pretty tired. I still go read it. That's all I have to say is go read it, sit there, think about it, probably reread it again. I'm probably gonna reread this. And we're gonna go get my next book. To start my 6th book, these are my options. I'm trying to stay away from series right now and do as many standalones as I can. I don't really know what I'm in the mood for, so I'm gonna put these into like a little number generator, and I'm gonna let it pick for the rest of however long I'm doing this. I've got everything in here. We are going to figure out what I'm reading next. We're reading Lights Out, the book I just got today. Okay, Lights Out is a dark romance. Some of the little blurbs on here say, I want someone with a soul as black as night, someone who would burn the world down for me and not lose a single minute of sleep over it. I mean, who doesn't want that? I want things most people don't, craving darkness and depravity instead of light and love. Okay, well, I don't quite relate with that one, but it has a trauma nurse, and I love the medical field. This is gonna be very relatable. Starting book 6. What are the chances that I read 2 romance books that have girl is offered a job, but she doesn't want to leave her love interest? And I have this book and The Locked Door by Freida McFadden. The girl in The Locked Door had a serial killer dad, and now the guy in here has a serial killer dad. Just funny that I've only been reading 6 books and there's these little connections. I'm 20 pages in on the 3rd chapter. It has dual point of views, which I love. I'm happy. It starts out pretty, not intense, but pretty interesting. You can tell this book is going to be quite spicy. I have no regrets about publicly claiming you. We're not even a third of the way in, ma'am. I actually really like that he's not talking. He's just like typing on a phone and handing it to her. Didn't know that was a thing that I could find interesting. Just hit 1 a.m. I'm really dying now. Really dying down now. The last like 50 pages have just been like spice, which isn't bad. It's written well, it's not very cheesy, but I want the plot to move along a little bit more. Right now she's trying to figure out who he is. She has an idea of who he is, but she wants to confirm it scientifically, I guess, if she's not gonna straight out call him out on it. I'm just waiting to see. I read the back of the book and it says that she's captured the attention of someone with far more sinister intentions, which leads me to think it's not Josh. I'm hoping a mysterious person gets introduced. I mean, we all know who the masked guy is at this point. Just give me something a little exciting. I just got to the scene I think everyone was talking about with the knife first for me and for her. I was not expecting that, especially at 2:09 in the morning. We're on home stretch of the last hour. That's not good. That's not good at all. Now I'm awake. We made it, leaving off on 2:34. We're good for the night. I have officially read for 24 hours straight. And let me tell you, this sounds so easy, especially coming from somebody that used to stay up 24 hours straight gaming consistently. I don't know if I'm older now or what, but it was hard. I can stay up for a decent amount of time, but I was reviewing the videos and you can definitely tell when I am not all here. And that just proves sleep is important. You need it, okay? I don't recommend trying this. unless you're in the safety of your home. My hat goes off to anyone that has done a 24-hour readathon consecutively, staying up that long. I personally can't. Maybe in the future I might be able to, but that was rough. I did make it through 6 books here of various genres. We did start off with Carmilla. Kind of feel like this was cheating a little bit because this is such a tiny little book, but did what we set out to do. Read as many books as we can, and this counts. It was good. Again, I appreciate that Dracula was based on this. Other than that, I don't think I'll be picking this up as a reread ever. I don't know who exactly I would recommend this to read. I think if you're really into older literature and the history of vampires in literature, I think this is a must read. Nice to say I've read it. I can live without it. After that, we did My Roommate is a Vampire, and I loved this book. I looked on Goodreads and a lot of people didn't rate it that great, but I had such a fun time. I obviously had such a fun time. There was a lot of cliches and tropes, I get it, but I still really loved this. You didn't really have to think about much. The banter between the characters was funny to me. I love sarcasm. Maybe that's why it got rated a little low. I know that's not everyone's favorite thing, but sarcasm and dry humor, you have my heart. I do recommend that one. After that, we did Swift and Saddled. Again, clearly, I had a good time with this one. I did love this one more than Done and Dusted. I will definitely be continuing this series. I saw the cover for the 3rd book. So cute. I can't wait to get my hand on the rest of this series. Again, give the dad his own book. I beg you, please. Next up was The Locked Door by Freida McFadden. I will always stand by if you need a quick thriller that gets you turning the pages. She is a good one to pick up. I do recommend this one. Out of the books I've read, again, which was The Gift, The Endmate, and Never Lie, this one is my favorite. Maybe because it has to do with the medical field a little bit, because she was a surgeon. I also found this one to just be probably the most believable out of all of them. And it took me a little bit to guess who it was. After that, Fahreinheit 451. Read it. I recommend it. I think everyone should read this. This is an example of what can happen if books didn't exist and all we had was media, and how we can be controlled via media, especially if we don't have a way to read books or get information elsewhere. Kind of gave me the idea of what brain rot is, especially when it comes to these people that sit there and watch TV all day, and how that's literally all they can think about, and they almost think that's like the whole world. That's all there is. And the ending was very good. I can tell why this book was banned, and I think people should read banned books. I didn't make it through this book on the readathon. However, I have since finished it. Clearly had a good time with this one. My friends were 100% right when it came to freaking out over this book. I ate it up, loved every single moment of it. There wasn't much that I would change, other than there were some periods that I thought were a little drawn out, and it did take us a little bit to get to a part that was mentioned in the synopsis. I don't really want to give any spoilers. If you are a dark romance girly, I recommend it. I said in a TikTok video that yes, it's dark romance, but it's not, to me, it's not the typical dark romance. It wasn't rough. It wasn't like super dark. It has those dark elements, but consent was there. So if that's where you struggle when it comes to dark romance books, I think this one might be a good place to dip your toes into. Please read your trigger warnings nonetheless. But I think this is a good entrance to dark romance. Loved it, recommend it. Thank you so much for accompanying me during this very stressful 24 hours. Not very stressful, just I was struggling. I will probably do one of these again, because while it was difficult to stay awake, I had so much fun, and I can't tell you the last time I read 6 books in 24 hours. I actually can't tell you, never. Moving forward, every time I fall behind on my Goodreads challenge, I'll probably whip one of these up. Maybe I'll try and do one at least once a month. That seems doable. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys come back to my channel for next week's video.